steal it. Here comes Chicago. 17 seconds. 17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan, open. Chicago with the lead. Timeout, Utah.
In 1891, at a YMCA training school in Springfield, Massachusetts, James Naismith explored new ideas for making a non-violent game that could be played inside during the winter. After several attempts, Naismith finally ended up making the game he would later name basketball. Immediately, his game's popularity spread in African American communities. The game encountered and helped break down racial barriers in American sports. In 1891, Dr. Luther Golick from the YMCA training school hired Dr. James Naismith as the physical instructor. He gave Naismith the challenge of making a safe game for a group of unruly kids that could be played in a small indoor place, as it was cold during the New England winters. Dr. Naismith was given just 14 days to accomplish this task under those circumstances. Naismith thought about the fact that in other popular sports, tackling was necessary to stop someone from running. So Naismith decided that there would be no running with the ball. The players would pass the ball amongst themselves. He decided to put the goal high above the player's head so a soft lob shot was best instead of a bullet shot that could potentially hurt someone. The ball itself was softer than those of hockey or lacrosse. He used leather to make the first ball. The goal was made of peach baskets nailed to the balcony on either side of the door. Naismith made 13 rules for the game in under an hour. The game was a success from the start as the 18 original players found it fun to play and easy to learn. These hoops presented a problem though, as every time somebody scored, the ball had to be retrieved and this slowed up the game. This problem was fixed, however, with the invention of hoops with iron rims and nets for the ball to go through. A couple years later, the backboard was invented, so you could bounce the ball off the backboard so it would go into the hoop. The expansion of basketball grew, and in just a few years after the invention of it, most of the YMCA centers and colleges in the northeast part of the U.S. had basketball programs. Yale University invented the dribble in 1897. Dribbling is bouncing the ball on the floor. This allows players to move with the ball. Today, dribbling is used often. Many professional basketball leagues were attempted to be made, such as the Philadelphia Basketball Association, the Vancouver Basketball League, and many others. None of these leagues lasted very long, though, one of the longer ones being the National Basketball League, which lasted 5 seasons, then became the National Basketball Association, which is the current professional league. Perhaps the league that served the greatest purpose was the New England Basketball League. This league allowed for the first black player to play in a professional game. His name was Harry Lue. He was only 18 years old when he started playing basketball professionally. This provided a surge in national basketball exposure. In 1936, the game of basketball became an Olympic sport. The games were played on sand courts in Berlin, Germany. The United States took home the gold medal in the first year of the Basketball Olympics. After many of the attempts to make a professional basketball league had failed, one grew in popularity. It was the National Basketball Association, known as the NBA. The NBA started out with 11 teams split into 2 conferences, the East and West. The East had the Boston Celtics, the Philadelphia Warriors, the Providence Steamrollers, the Washington Capitals, the New York Knickerbockers, and the Toronto Huskies, while the Western Conference was made up of the Pittsburgh Ironmen, the Chicago Stags, the Detroit Falcons, the St. Louis Bombers, and the Cleveland Rebels. Players were paid around $5,000 a season. They had to have off-season jobs for supplemental income. The first NBA game was played between the New York Knickerbockers and the Toronto Huskies on November 1st, 1946. The tickets ranged from 75 cents to $2.50. If you were taller than Toronto's 6'8" George Nostrand, you could get in for free. The game drew in a crowd of 7,090 people. The New York Knickerbockers won the game 68-66. It was little like the game of basketball we see today. The game was low scoring with few dunks. In fact, the game had few jump shots, as the coaches believed nothing good could happen once your feet left the ground for a shot. This slow-paced game of basketball became overpowered by the high-flying style of play of the ABA, known as the American Basketball Association. The ABA was founded in 1967 and lasted 9 years. The ABA competed with the NBA for attendance. For a few years, the ABA was actually more popular. The ABA had a more flashy style of play than the NBA. The ABA introduced the three-point line, and instead of a traditional orange ball that the NBA used, the ABA teams used a red, white, and blue basketball like the Harlem Globetrotters were known to use. The ABA merged with the NBA in 1976. However, it still had some lasting legacies. The New Jersey Nets, the Denver Nuggets, the Indiana Pacers, and the San Antonio Spurs were all ABA teams that became NBA teams. The ABA also started traditions such as the All-Star Game and the Slam Dunk Contest, which are still done every year to this day. The ABA also brought many prominent players into the NBA that boosted popularity, such as David Thompson, Moses Malone, Rick Barry, and Julius Dr. J. Irving. When the ABA merged with the NBA converted to the style of play that the ABA had used. The three-point line made for a more exciting game, and Larry Bird was a player known for his three-point shot. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, who was known for his Showtime offense, made the NBA once again popular. The NBA has continued to strive through the decades with deeper shots and fancier moves to make the game more exciting to watch. The NBA is now a multi-million-dollar organization with 29 franchises, including one in Canada. Basketball has helped break down racial tension with the breaking of the color barrier in 1902. James Naismith created a game over 100 years ago that is still being played today by over 300 million people worldwide, and is now one of the most known sports around the world.